Everyone, it's your man Chris Dizzy here, back with another video. This is gonna be a shorter one than usual. We're gonna go until my phone dies, or a little bit before. It's not even at full charge, not even halfway, but it's gonna be a good opportunity to get a little message out. First things first, to let everybody know, it's Cancer season now. We are officially in the summer. If you live in the northern hemisphere, if you live in the southern hemisphere and you happen to be watching this, you are in the winter. So I decided to come outside yet again, get some fresh air on this nice Sunday day. Right. And if you could see from the title, it's going to be Astrology. Can it predict happiness? And the answer to that is yes, it can. But the drawback is the astrologer reading you may or not know if you're happy or not. That requires some context and the rest of your chart to make that assessment too. As we get older, we start to realize what makes us happy changes. Same things that used to make us excited when we were children. Leo won't necessarily make us happy anymore when we're adults. Saturn, when we get older. Happiness and change comes naturally as people progress through their lives. And if you look at the course of the birth chart, you could look at it forward going backwards. You could look at different measures of charts too. There's something in astrology called progressions, and that's where you move your chart at a specific rate. Because for those of you who don't know, your birth chart isn't the only chart that reads your life. Your birth chart changes every single day, just like you do. What do I mean by that? Let's say you were born on October 13th, 1972, for example. That's your birth chart, right? Is today that same day? Is today the same date? Even if today were to land on your birthday, solar return, it will never be the same year ever again. Your chart moves every single day, every single hour, every single minute. Same way humans age every single day, hour, and minute. You're not the exact same you were when you were a baby. You grew, you got a little bit more tan, you got more scars on your body, you got more experience, things of that nature and intent. And when it comes to happiness, there's two signs that rule it. Or no, there's one main sign. Jupiter. The planet Jupiter ruling the sign of Sagittarius and also the ninth house. These are the three main placements that are going to point to happiness in everybody's chart, whether you're Sagittarius or not, because everybody has Sagittarius somewhere in their chart. But anything you say about the sign of Sagittarius, you can say about the sign of Leo as well. And that's because Leo, which points to fun, points towards your motivation, your spirit, your force, your drive. It points to God. Leo points to God. Sagittarius points to God the Father. Leo points to love. Jupiter points to blessings. Usually, don't you find happiness in the things that you love? And once you're given some blessings, don't you find a new vitality in yourself? If you were to put Sagittarius as the first zodiac sign, that would put Aries in the 5th place. Yeah, I would put Aries in the place of Leo. If you were to change that to Leo, Leo has itself the sign of Leo in the first place. Aries is the first zodiac sign. It rules the first house, the first place. Leo rules the 5th house in the 5th place. Sagittarius has Aries in the 5th place. Well, Leo has Leo in the first place. Leo's in the house of Aries. Aries sits in the house of Libra, in the house of Leo. And it follows that pattern going all the way throughout the chart. Sagittarius has Virgo in the 6th place. Sagittarius has Virgo sitting. No, Sagittarius has Taurus sitting in Virgo's place, the 6th place. Well, Leo has Virgo sitting in the 2nd place. Taurus rules the 2nd. Virgo rules the 6th. Taurus is in the 6th place for Sagittarius. Virgo is in the 2nd place for Leo. It follows this one-to-one pattern. Well, it's not one-to-one, but it follows this pattern for every single sign in that combination. This is why you can give an Aries, not an Aries, this is why you can give a Leo a Sagittarius reading, and you can give a Sagittarius reading to a Leo. And when you look at that, and when you understand it that way, you also understand that they're both fire signs. And they rule the 5th and 9th house. And of a school of astrology that you call perfections, it's usually the 1st house ruled by Aries, the 5th house ruled by Leo, and the 9th house ruled by Sagittarius. Once you progress and you land in those houses, those are supposed to be good years for you. If you were to use a basic secondary progression, or not even, if you were to use what we call in cosmophysics a P12, every year your sign changes. Did you know that? Every year your sign actually changes. So if you were born, for example, a Gemini, in your first year, aka you just come out of the womb, you took your first breath, right? And from the time you come out of the womb until you turn 1 year old, you are in the first year of your life. In that first year of your life, you're in the first house, because your first house would be Gemini. If you're in Aries, your first house would be Aries. If you're a Taurus, your first house would be Taurus. Libra, same thing. It won't be until your 5th year of life, 5th house, that you won't enter a similar type of energy again. But by that time, you'll turn 4 years old. What does that mean? Every 4 years, in terms of your birthdays or solar returns, tend to be good years. When you're just born, when on your 4th birthday, your 8th birthday, 12th, 16, 20, 24, these tend to be good years, because they land in the 1st year, the 5th year, and the 9th year. Now, depending on where the planets are in your chart, you may have Saturn, for example, in the 1st, in the 5th, or the 9th. Saturn could be difficulty. For example, I have Saturn in the 9th. Saturn points to difficulties, delays, hardships, things like that. but the ninth house is happiness. And looking back at it, 20 years of age for me, even though I have Saturn there, was the best year. It was one of the best years. But by then, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, yep, it was one of the best years. It was one of the best years for me. And as soon as I turned 21, I entered a Saturn square. Life started to get difficult for me again. I just turned 23. So that means next year I should be entering into my first house again. And life should be able to pick it up. Astrology lets you see when you're going to generally have good times, generally have good moments on a yearly basis, monthly basis, and if you're good enough, weekly to even daily, you can see when the hardships are coming your way. You can see the moments where you're going to be more happy than not. We're going to face more difficulty than not. And when you talk about happiness, two things happen. You can talk about it the regular way too, or the basics. What sign comes before Sagittarius? Scorpio. What is Scorpio? To take advantage of. It is to have willpower. It is inform influence, to have influence, to have the ability to manipulate. Funny when you think about it. Manipulation, taking advantage, power and influence comes before happiness. Comes before happiness. If you have just as much as everybody else fairness, that's Libra. But once you start to finally have an advantage, or you have something that somebody else don't, or you only have something that only a few select people have, others don't have yet, you gain a sense of happiness. You actually gain a sense of happiness. And modern society will try to tell you, don't do those things. Don't have too much of an advantage. Don't take care, or do not be in a situation where you may use somebody over yourself. Turns out that's naturally how life flows and goes. Let's take Leo, for example, now. What comes before fun, joy, ego? All Leo. What comes before love is Cancer. What's Cancer? Emotionality. It is crying, sadness. It is being soft. It is care, to care. It is the mother. The mother comes before the child. The mother is the one that carries the child. The mother comes before the child. Cancer comes before Leo. When a baby comes out the womb, what does a baby do? A baby starts crying. And after it's done doing its crying phase, a baby is the happiest, one of the happiest creatures on the face of the planet. You're brand new to the world. You haven't been scarred yet. You don't even have the mental capability yet to know real pain and anguish. Babies come out the womb soft. But once you're a child, you think you can control the world. You can do anything as a child. Any wrongdoing you may see doesn't even matter. You find a way to still be happy regardless. It's as you get older, and then you start running into pain and difficulty, and your mind starts to develop. Now you start holding on to pain as it has come to you. You see how that dichotomy works? Before you can love somebody, before you can even love yourself, comes a level of sadness or emotionality. And once you get out of your emotional state, you are in your ego. It's like the bad times come first, the undesirable thing comes first, in terms of what society may deem as bad, or you're at your most vulnerable. Then after that, that's when you get your strength, when you need it the most. Leo, that's when you get your strength. When you finally put yourself in a position of surplus, where you take more for yourself than you do for others, that's when you find that happiness in you. That's where you find that happiness in you. But it can work both ways too. If you already have your ego is in place, you already think you're the king of the world, you're already happy. Now, when you start to cry, that will undo you. Because you can look at the chart going forwards and you can look at it going backwards. So if you look at it going backwards, what comes after what comes after Leo is Virgo. Virgo is mastery, perfection. If you perfected something, it's because you had to be humble. You had to take in the time and energy to put in the work. You can't really master something if you have it in your head that you already got it. If you already in your ego that you're the best of the best, nobody can touch you. If you're out there having too much fun, you can't really focus on becoming a master at something. Virgo, mastery, fun, Leo. And once you're having too much fun, why would you start crying? That's going to be a rain on your parade. You don't want to be having fun and then somebody comes out being super emotional. That's going to put a damper on your parade. You find yourself being super serious, Capricorn. What's going to break you from being super serious? You start laughing. You have a stone cold face. You're serious. Somebody tells a joke, Sagittarius. Somebody makes you laugh, Sagittarius. Now you laughing. Now you laughing. You're not serious anymore. It undid your seriousness. And you go through both aspects of the chart every single day. You can use this for your mental development, and you can see for somebody's mental undevelopment or regression. You can see this in somebody's mental regression too. You can say when somebody's not spiritually acting right, living right, getting out in nature, getting some fresh air, bottling everything in, not using their mind per se. You come to realize that once you know what's coming up, you can really, really do something about it. And you can bounce around the chart too. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about partnership signs. Out of the 12 zodiac signs, 6 of them have partners because they're partnered to the other 6. Aries is a natural partner to Libra. Taurus is a natural partner to Scorpio. Gemini is a natural partner to Sagittarius. Cancer is a natural partner to Capricorn. Leo is a natural partner to Aquarius. And Virgo is a natural partner to Pisces. Now, does that mean the person you're going to be with or marry has to be the partnership sign? No, it does not. Because what people tend to get confused with astrology is they think that the zodiac sign that they are means everything, or that the zodiac sign means everything in general. No, it does not. Like I stated, you have houses 1 to 12, you have planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And if you use modern astrology, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. You have asteroids or planetoids like Chiron. You could use the ascendant, the midheaven. I possibly named about 14 things there. But most people only know the sun sign, and they think that is all there is to astrology. But that is one of the reasons why I make my content. I make this channel to help alleviate people to understand you are a complex being. All humans, all animals, this is a complex world. It's complex. You don't act one way every single time just because you are a Cancer. Yes, Cancers tend to be crybabies or emotional, but they're not emotional about everything that they do. They don't start crying when it's time to eat or make money. They don't start crying when it's or they're not necessarily emotionally intelligent. They're not crying when they feel comfortable or comfy. They're not crying when it comes to their love situations. No. You are not one single way every single time just based off your zodiac sign. This is why it's really important and integral to know. Go get a reading, do some more research yourself, and then confirm with other astrologers, other books, other people if what you're finding is to be true. Never rely on your own personal anecdotal experience alone, because we have a lot of astrologers in the community or people in general who learn one or two things and immediately think they know everything about astrology. They're in their egos, Leo, even if they're not a Leo themselves. Leo, the zodiac sign, points towards ego. And everybody has Leo somewhere in their chart. Leo points to your heart. Name me a human who can live without a heart. Name me one. You won't be able to do it. You need a heart. Leo points to the heart. Leo points to your spinal column, your spinal cord. We have vertebrae. Try to get around without that. You're not going to. But I can't blame people necessarily for not knowing anything out of their sign. But we used to live in a society that used to teach astrology on a regular everyday basis. Going back hundreds to thousands of years ago. Here in the Americas, in ancient Egypt, all over the world. We used to teach this science, the science of knowing the universe so you can know thyself. It's a Sunday, I'll give you an example. Even though I'm an astrologer, I still occasionally, routinely, because of my family and tradition, I will still pull up to a church institution. I will still do. I grew up on the religious side. I have no shame in it. Do I believe in it the way I used to before I learned astrology? No, I do not. But I can walk into a religious institution and not step on anybody else's toes or interrupt a service. And I have actually read people's sun signs um within the institution, and they barely knew what I was doing, but they would concur. They would be like, "Yeah, you're right, you're right, you're right." They won't even know what I was doing. And I do plan at one point or another throughout my years to get to a point where I can actually get on the pulpit and start teaching astrology. And if not at that one particular institution, at many more. Because people need to realize we are in the age of Aquarius. We are in the age of Aquarius. Aquarius points towards technology, revolution. I know you all be paying attention to what's happening in Russia right now. Revolution. It points towards innovation, brand new things. It points towards same-sex marriages, same-sex love. All of these things that we have in society here and now, we are in the age for that. And you know what else it points to that above all else? Science and astrology. We have come out of the age, and we have been out of the age of Pisces for a long, long time. For a long time. Since we have been out of the age of Pisces, and we've been out of the age of Pisces for around 600 some odd years. Some astrologers go off the vernal point. And this is what I used to. But I would have to go back and refresh my notes to make sure I have all my keys in place, because there's more to that than I'm saying right now, and I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to say something that may be incorrect because of my jargon. But life is now, or has been based on, for the longest time, on people's pleasures. On people's pleasures. Not even the first, fifth, or ninth house like I've been mentioning, but really on the second house, the sixth house, and the 10th. We live in an era where everybody, male or female, needs income, resources. The green. Everything I just mentioned points to the second house. The second house naturally points towards Taurus. Points towards Taurus. Points towards Taurus. The sixth house is going to point towards work, mastery, a skill, habits, your routines, what you do on an everyday basis. Everybody's set in their ways. Everybody has their routines. And people don't like to change their routines. And even when you're trying to change it for the better, you have a certain way you're going to go about it. Everybody has their routines, their habits. Many great books I used to recommend. How to gain friends and influence people. Think and Grow Rich. 7 Habits. There are many books on habits and how to change your habits and habitually change yourself. Some of those I need to get back into too. And finally, everybody's focused on their career. Everybody's is focused on pain avoidance. Nobody likes pain. People try to make their lives easier to avoid pain, to avoid painful situations, to avoid what is hard. That is the 10th house. That is Capricorn. That is Capricorn. It is also your career. It is your career, what you're known for. It is also fame and status. Aren't people mostly in the Western world? And you could even say in the Eastern world too. When you say most people in the Western world have some sort of obsession with celebrities, millions upon millions of people, me still included, will tune into our favorite pieces of media to check on our favorite or least favorite personalities and see what they're up to. This is what makes them famous in the first place. We're obsessed with these things. 10th house. And everybody, depending on what your sign is, and now we're talking about signs, will have a different 2nd, 6th, and 10th house. If you're a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, you're going to have a earth sign naturally be in your 2nd house, 6th house, and 10th house. So you all are going to have necessities around money, around you're skilled, you're master your habits, and have necessities around being famous, having sort of responsibilities on your shoulder or management in some sort of way or combination. If you're a fire sign, if you're an earth sign, you're going to have an air sign there. So there's going to be necessity around communication. There's going to be necessities around, or habitual things around your relationships with others, is going to be around humanity as a whole, trying to avoid pain from humanity, how trying to make a place for yourself in humanity. Earth signs are going to need that social interaction and base their life around it, whether it's going in their favor or not. So that would be if you're a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. If you're an air sign, it's all about your emotionality, your privacy, things that you keep to yourself or keep hidden. Air signs need that sense of care. They need that sense of care. They're going to need that sense of 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 power. They're going to need that sense of power, that ability to take advantage or to have an advantage. They're going to need that privacy. They're going to need that privacy. They're going to need the spirituality, the synchronicity. They're going to need the music. They're going to need the performing arts. All of these things are necessities to an air sign, whether you be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. And finally, the water signs. Finally, the water signs. They find this necessity in passion, in their actions, in their drive. They find necessity to be in a state where they are in a constant need of love. Their habits are based around their loved ones' love, expressing their ego. They're going to be in a state where they're going to want to really secure their happiness, secure a sense of happiness for themselves, or avoid people who might be hypocritical or who do too much. These are the necessities of the water signs, albeit be a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces. And then it starts over again with the fire signs. Everybody has their needs along with what makes them happy. But remember, most people need to understand too, when it comes to happiness, happiness is fleeting. Even the quote unquote happiest of people are not happy forever. And you can look at this multiple ways. Scorpio, the sign that comes before Sagittarius, points to hate, resentment, jealousy. After that comes happiness. But what comes after happiness? Pain, abuse, delays, restrictions. Capricorn, naturally in the zodiac, you're in a state of hate, resentment, survival. You have to do what you have to do to get by for yourself. You get a moment of happiness, expansion, because now you have more than you did before. You may have more than the person next to you. But right after that, you do too much. Sagittarius, you end up doing too much. You have too much. Now you're at a state where you're losing what you've had. Or you need to get rid of the surplus to really refine, Capricorn, what it is you really want or have. Think about it this way. Even though as we get older, our likes and dislikes change, usually what we find to be happy, we stick to those things. You already know what makes you happy. I don't need to tell you. Me being astrologer gives me the ability to tell you, to know. But once you reach a state of happiness, you know what makes you happy. And then you are rigid. You really do not like to change, or you like to really keep it locked in, Capricorn, to doing those same things that make you happy whenever you can do it. but the situations around happiness are the same. Let's look at Leo, for example. You end up emotional. You get through the emotionality, now you have an ego built up. After you get the ego built up, what happens after you have an ego? If you walk around with an ego, your ego's too big. If you walk around with an ego too much, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get humbled. Virgo, you're gonna get humbled. You running around thinking you can do everything, you can say everything, you can do anything. Whether you're a child or not. You've seen videos online making fun of people who got an advantage or acting super happy, doing something that they should have known wasn't right, and then you see karma comes their way and boom, something bad happens to them almost instantaneously. Karma. They went from a state of being in an ego to getting humbled, whether they did it to themselves or somebody did it to them, to let you know you're not really what you think you are. You're not really doing what you think you're doing. This one most people don't know or understand. Happiness and fun tend to be fleeting at times. Jupiter takes about 11.86 years to go around the zodiac. What does that mean? There's 12 zodiac signs. Jupiter takes about 11.86 years. So Jupiter stays in every single zodiac sign for about 1 year. Simple, right? Saturn takes about 2.5 years, sometimes closer to 3, to go around the zodiac. It takes about 30 years for Saturn to go through every sign. It takes about 30. Saturn rules Capricorn. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So even if you have Jupiter in the same sign as Sagittarius, Saturn is going to be there for much longer. People love to chase happiness. People love to chase dopamine. And they're always going to be chasing it because it just doesn't last as long as the pain. It doesn't last long as the what you experienced or what you learned. But I mentioned in the live stream prior, but I'm going to mention it again because it still rings true. It's accomplishment you want to really focus on in this lifetime. Accomplishment. Because when all is said and done, and you're in your final moments, there are very few things you're going to really look back on. And once you get to that point, you're going to really ask yourself, what did I accomplish? What was I able to accomplish? What did I do? Because apparently when you ask most elderly people, they're either in one or two states, but they're doing the same thing. They're either talking about what they did in their past and the highlights of it, or they talk about what they did in their past and how they regret doing certain things. They regret doing certain things, or they regret not being able to do certain things. But again, they're talking about what they accomplished. They're not necessarily talking about happiness. They're talking about the things they accomplished and how it brought them happiness or how it brought them regret. Sagittarius or Scorpio. Don't ever dwell on the little things. It won't last. The pain you're feeling won't last. But the happiness you're going through at the same time comes and goes. I try to set goals for myself, and even if I don't hit them eventually, in the time limit that I set. As long as I hit them, it was in divine timing. Did it right. Because everything you're supposed to get in your life, you can see in your birth chart. You can see it. And you will not leave this plane of existence until that what is written in your birth chart has manifested. You won't leave until it is manifested. And you can go in to confirm what you're learning too, because you can use your family's birth chart. You can use your family's birth chart. You can look at your mother's chart, your sister, your cousins, your spouse's chart, and find yourself in their chart too. Now you need an advanced astrologer or someone who really knows what they're doing to do this for you. I got you if you need. And you can come to look at somebody who either lived before you, like an ancestor, or someone who came after you, like a child or your descendant. And you can look and see yourself in their chart, and you can really confirm whether or not you're supposed to do or have certain things. And once you learn that, it kind of gives you a sense of solace, because I used to live like most people, thinking every day could be their last. Come to realize as I got older, it's not that simple. You can't just go whenever you want. There are certain rules in place that this universe is set up for when and when not a person's gonna go. And you can track it. You can track it. And it gives you a sense of catharsis to know if you're not in a situation you want to be, if you don't have what you want to have. You could realize that if it's in your chart you're supposed to get it, your timing isn't up yet. Because think about it this way. If you really have achieved everything that your chart has told you to achieve, if you've really done everything that you've wanted to do or accomplished, every single little thing, what is your need to continue to be here on this earth? If you've accomplished everything that you wanted, you've taken care of everybody that you wanted to, you've spread the message, or you gave out the idea that you wanted to do for yourself, for others, for a cause, you've done it all. You've lived your life now, no matter what age it may be. Could be time for you to go. And society as a whole looks at this as a completely, utterly sad thing. Depending on what age of society we used to live in, we used to celebrate when an ancestor or a person passed. We used to celebrate it. We used to think of it as a time of encouragement or endearment when it happened. But naturally, a passing is going to be a sad thing. Scorpio, a passing, is in a trine to a Cadent house. Cancer, which is sadness, and Pisces, which is loneliness or depression that comes from it. But again, depending on who you are, what your sign is, you handle it differently. You handle it differently. Depending on the age that we live in and the current duad or duadashama that we are in within certain ages. For example, we are in the age of Aquarius. I've said that multiple times now. But within that age of Aquarius, we are in the decan of Libra. The age of Aquarius lasts 2,160 years. You can break that up into 12. Now, I don't know if my math is going to prevail me, But I'm pretty sure if you divide it by 12 zodiac signs over the course of 2,160 years, that gives you about 180 years. About 180 years that you're in each sector, each different sign. Right now, we would be in Libra. Right now, we would be in Libra. Because the signs move backwards through the ages. What is Libra? Or what is this age of Libra that we're in right now? What is it governed by? It is governed by relationships, the government. It is beauty standards. It is peace, harmony. It is finding balance. It is social connections of all kinds. Of all kinds. And if you really think about it, things have been more peaceful, even though bad things still do come about. Overall, for these past, I'd say 20 years plus now, we have not been in too many major wars. And the few wars that we've been in, they haven't been super long lasting. They've been somewhat contained. Good things have happened too, across the world. People are starting to wake up now, focus more on compromising with one another. And above all else, Libra is fairness. There's a sense of fairness, or a theme of general fairness going on in the world. Fair does not mean perfect. Fair doesn't necessarily mean equal. Fair is what? A compromise. I do this for you, you do this for me. You do one thing, or one thing goes this way, I'm gonna do this, is gonna go another way. That's fair. And as I come to be an astrologer too, I come to tell and let everybody know I'm still on my journey as well too. This is a lifetime of discovery that I've embarked on. And from checking my own natal chart, it was sooner or later, or inevitable, I was going to be on this path anyways. Because do not think this chart does not affect the astrologer either. Same way, do not think that a pastor does not get affected by temptations of the world, for instance. Everybody is human. We all get affected, no matter how somebody wants to portray themselves. But there's certain things that every sign can do. There's certain things that every person can do to give them some sort of advantage, give them some sort of solace every single day and every single moment, to know that if you are not at the state you want to be in yet, you can get there. To let them know if you are already at the place that you are at, you can maintain it too. Going on these live streams and giving little bits of information wherever I can is one of the things that helps me a lot. Is one of the things that helps me a lot. But this has been a great talk. No potential questions in the comment box. I continue to try to make videos, post on this channel too. I've been posting some of the shorts of the lives. I've been posting on my TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I've been posting some of the shorts or reels on YouTube too, to see how they fare. They even get more videos than some of these live streams, so could be posting more. And I'm coming to realize that there's much more to life than we give it credit for. Any takeaways I want you to leave from this live stream, remember, you are not your sun sign. Astrology can predict your happiness, but it comes and goes. Focus more on what you want to accomplish and what you want to do in this lifetime, for that will aid you more. Don't get too caught up in the hardships. Don't get too caught up in what other people may have to say about you. Realize the small things, small problems don't matter. Focus on what's going to help you in the long term. And keep going. This has been Chris is here. Astrology Universe. Come for a reading. Linktree in bio. Catch y'all next time.